Big kids, it is week 6, day 2 of writing, and you will need your circle map that you made yesterday. You're also going to need the bubble map that you created as well. Go ahead and grab those two things, have those out. The next thing you're going to also need is a blank piece of paper, so make sure you have all three of those. Let's start by taking our blank piece of paper, and when we're writing, the thinking map that we always use is that flea map. So let's go ahead and create a flea map. Remember, to create a flea map, you take your paper, put it vertically in front of you, fold it from the top to the bottom. We'll fold it in half, and we'll fold it again so that way it's in quarters or fourths. And then you can open it up like so. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces there. Remember that we usually start in the second quadrant here, the second second quarter, and put a square kind of in the middle here like this. And then that'll give you some room to go ahead and put the other two squares in. And your tell me mores will go down below. There's usually 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. Now, sometimes kids are like, how come you don't just make us a copy of this, Mr. Hall? And the reason I don't is because I want you to be able to create this map anywhere you go. So if you are at, Burger King and you're going to do a little bit of writing, you can grab a napkin and you can draw this on the back of a napkin or on the back of a bag. This map, once you know how to make it, you can make it on any piece of paper. If I were to give you the form and tell you, oh, this is the form, then you don't know how to make it, and so you wouldn't be able to create your own. You'd just be waiting for a copy of it all the time. And remember, we go from our intro, there's an arrow to this first set of box, this first box, and these first tell me mores, the next one, the next one, the next one. Cool. So now that I have this, I'm just going to set it over to the side for a minute. And remember, our prompt is we want to give advice to new parents about babies. And so what I can do, or what it takes to be a good parent. So what I could do is I kind of have a choice to make. I could just pick 3 qualities, and then I could make my essay about my writing all about those 3 qualities. So I could talk about, being wise and being, maybe funny or kind or whatever those 3 qualities are. I could do that. Or I could take my writing and look over here at the, things that new parents need to know, and need to know that, babies have diapers and bottles and they need a lot of stuff, right? So I could talk about all the stuff that babies need. So maybe I could do that for one of them. I could also talk about how babies, you have to have a lot of patience with babies, and I could talk about why, because, they make messes, they're messy, they cry a lot, and then whatever else, why else you need patience too. And then we could talk about dirty diapers. Yeah. So we could talk about that. We could also talk about how, babies are always hungry, and so you have to make them lots of food, and you have to feed them all the time. And so I'm gonna put feed all the time. So if I did that, then I could, when I'm looking here, I could talk about maybe how they need a lot of stuff, and then you have to have a lot of patience with babies because they're super messy, and they're messy, and the diapers and all of that. And then I could talk about here about how you have to feed them all the time, and I could talk about how they get up in the middle of the night and you have to feed them, and they cry and they'll wake you up and you never get to sleep, and all of those things too. Or I could talk about so I could do that. So I could pick 3 things off of my circle map and just blow those out and decide that, hey, I'm going to write about, babies need lots of stuff. So we could talk about how they need to have a high chair and a crib, and they need bouncy toys and all of that stuff. And I could talk about, all of this, about all the stuff that they need. I could talk here about how you have to have a lot of patience because they're messy and they make lots of messes. And then over here, I could talk about how you have to feed them all the time, and do that here too. See, so Those are just 3 examples. Do I have to just do this? No. The reason that I had you make both of these is because, you might want to choose, maybe you just want to choose here about, all the stuff that they need, and that parents have to be really kind because, babies mess up a lot and that they're super messy, and you could write all about, how kind you have to be here. Or you could just pick 3 of these qualities and do, if you're gonna to be a great new parent, there are 3 qualities every parent must have. They must be kind, comma, wise, comma, and loving. And then we can talk about why you have to be those 3. I hope that so what I want you to do today is I want you to go through and pick what your 3 topics are going to be that you're going to write about here. Now today you'll notice I'm leaving mine completely blank, and the reason that I'm leaving it blank is because I'm noticing that some people are just copying what I'm writing, and I don't want you to do that. This is your advice. So you can either pick 3 qualities here and talk about the 3 qualities of a good parent, or you can talk about 3 things that you think that they need to know about being a new parent, about how babies need lots of stuff, and they that you have to that they're very messy, and that they make a lot of noise, and that you have to feed them all the time, or whatever you want to do there. Okay, so you're just going to fill out these 3 boxes and the 3 tell me mores that go along with this box. And if you're not sure how the tell me more works, it goes like this. If I were to say that new parents should have a good sense of humor. If I want to know what else I can add, just ask yourself, tell me more. So I think all new parents should have a good sense of humor. Tell me more. There are lots of times when you're going to be very tired and frustrated, and having a good sense of humor can help you smile. Also, babies like to laugh, and having a good sense of humor makes sure that your baby grows up happy. And finally, having a good sense of humor can also, being able to see the humor in a situation can make things that are very stressful not seem as difficult or as challenging, because it's when you can laugh when things are hard, it makes life easier. You could write that here. Anyways, something like that. Now look, I just gave you an example, didn't I? So don't steal my example. So you'll have to come up with something else. All right. Okay, so you're going to do these 3 boxes here. You should be able to knock those out, no problem. And then tomorrow we'll do intro and the conclusion. All right, off you go. Bye.